Her Last Wish, chapters 5 to 10. Welcome to Simple Spoken English, where learning meets captivating storytelling. In today's chapters, we dive deeper into the life of Vijay Sharma, a man navigating through love, hardships, and revelations. These chapters explore emotional resilience, relationships, and the unexpected turns life can take. Through simple yet powerful language, you'll not only enhance your English, but also immerse yourself in a tale filled with raw human emotions and real-life dilemmas. Let's begin this journey together. After dinner, we snuggled in bed while having a light chat. The 0-watt red light bulb was creating the perfect ambiance. In spite of my inner turmoil, there was an aura of happiness in the room. It was one of the loveliest moments of my life, not because it was the first time that we were snuggling, but because my perception of things had begun to change. After 3 weeks of separation, my physical urges were at a high. I could even decode her whispers, but the irony was that I could not make love to an HIV patient. "So, what did you do the whole day?" she asked, while getting closer to me. Our nostrils were so close that we could easily inhale each other's breath. "I went to a doctor." Even before I could finish what I had to say, she cut me short. "Doctor? Are you okay?" "Well, some problem. It hurts while peeing," I said hesitatingly. "Hurts? Where? Don't tell me it's in the penis?" "Yeah," I said with a sad face, contorted with pain. "What the hell? After a trip to Goa, my husband's penis is hurting." She frowned and stared at me with suspicion. "I hope you didn't sleep with anyone." "Shut up." When we speak the truth, raising our voice in protest is trivial. Even a gentle shut up is enough. "I might have masturbated thinking of you, though. Ever thought I could have missed you that much?" "Why do you always have to think negative?" I responded bitterly while she giggled. "Sorry, I was just joking. What did the doctor say?" "She said I have a urinary tract infection, because of which I'll have to avoid having sex for a couple of days," I said, carefully making the doctor a female to tease her. "You went to a woman to get yourself examined? Oh my God, my husband and a doctor! No!" she went on acting up, over-dramatizing her expressions like a cheesy South Indian movie. Then she stiffened up a bit, as if remembering something. "What did you just say? No sex for a couple of days?" she repeated, despair clearly resonating in her voice. She was just about to say something when I kissed her and said, "Allow me to finish. Today I have activated an insurance policy often lacks, which is subject to medical tests for both of us. So tomorrow, an assistant from Dr. Lal Path Labs will be coming over to collect a sample." I sighed. She nodded, and I added another instruction. "You have to have an empty stomach until the blood sample is collected, which will approximately be done around 8 in the morning." She went silent. In order to change the topic, I asked, "When is your job confirmation due?" "Monday." "How is your manager?" I continued to try making her talk so as to divert her attention from the infected penis. "That idiot Mukul Mathur!" she almost screamed. "Did he do anything that troubled my darling?" The bank's official closing time is 5, and I leave at 5:30. Even then, he accuses me of leaving the office early. She looked at me, hoping for me to support her. A husband has to have her wife's back, so I shook my head and clicked my tongue in support. Why does he compare his life with mine? She continued. He is buried in his desk until 8. How am I at fault for that? She was up with her one-sided conversation. He earns in lakhs. He can sit in the office 24 hours. But you know what? He is the worst boss. Absolutely, I smiled and said, why don't you quit, sweetheart? You are right. I should switch my job. No, I am not asking you to switch. I suggest that you leave this boring banker job and pursue your dream. Well, let me tell you about an incident that'll make you laugh. Sargam and I would always chat about our aspirations in life, and coincidentally, we both wanted to be actresses. Really? You wanted to be an actress? I smiled at her and asked inquisitively. Please don't laugh. I usually smile at everything, and very rarely do I laugh, whereas she is completely the opposite. That's why she considered my smile as laugh. Once I felt I wanted to be a writer. Can you believe it? Astha Pathak, a writer. I freed her from my arms and looked at her intently to show my interest. Why not? I am sure you must have written a few pages, too. Yes, I did write some pages. Where are those pages? How have you not shown them to me yet? And yes, now I am absolutely sure that you should quit your job and pursue writing. Professor Sharma G. 15,000 house rent plus 10,000 for other expenses per month, and your salary is 25,000. What if we want to buy a new car or something else? How will we be able to manage the money for it? At the end of the day, we'll be left with nothing. Just think, once you become a writer, millions of each of your books will be sold, and then I'll ask you the same question. Then your answer will change. But how can you be so sure that each book of mine will sell 1 million copies? I am very positive about that. Just show me the pages that you had written. I sat up with excitement and said, show me your manuscript. I didn't want my wife to be working while struggling to fight against HIV. However, the diagnosis had to be confirmed first. I can smell a rat. Are you up to something? Whatever you say, I am not going to resign. Astha, look at yourself. You return home frustrated. It is only a matter of time before your frustration becomes permanent. Try to pursue your dream instead. I tried convincing her for the first time ever. I am not quitting, and the discussion is over. She authoritatively put an end to our discussion. At least show me what you wrote, Astha. When I was done writing, I realized that I couldn't be a writer. It's not worth reading. It hardly matters what you think. Just show me the pages, I said, but she didn't move an inch. Okay, don't show me all the pages. How many did you write? I forced her. She looked at me with merciful eyes and took a deep breath before saying, 1. Chapter 6. Next morning, an assistant from Dr. Lal Path Labs arrived to collect our samples. Astha shared her blood sample without an ounce of suspicion. As an exception, I requested them to deliver the report on priority. Before leaving, he shared the most important instruction while handing over a pamphlet to me. If there are any extreme discoveries, you'll receive a call from the lab. Astha was getting ready to leave for office. I copied a few numbers from her cell phone while she had gone for a shower. That day, I dropped her to the office. I had decided not to let her carry on with her job, but I couldn't find the right words to convince her. I had to come up with a couple of good reasons to convince her. Since my college was closed for the next 1 month, I had only one thing on priority to fix everything before resuming college. Around 1 in the afternoon, while I was resting, I realized that before anything else, I had to confirm whether I too was HIV positive. Just then, I received a call from an unknown landline number. I picked it up with a lot of fear and anticipation. "Hello, we are calling Dr. Lal Pathlabs am talking to." I cut her short and asked fearfully, "I am VJ. Are the reports ready? What is the outcome?" I had said all this at lightning speed. My heart was beating faster with every passing second. "Sir, your HIV report is negative," answered the lady on the other side of the call. "And what about Astha Sharma?" I asked. She sighed and paused. I guessed that she didn't have good news to share. "Please say it." "Sir, you can download the reports from our website in an hour's time. All the details have been mentioned in the report. Please answer whether her report is positive or negative. Her delayed response had been killing me. Mrs. Astha Sharma has been diagnosed with a positive for HIV. Her CD4 count is around 320 cells. I abruptly disconnected the call without even caring to exchange formalities with the caller. It was a complex situation. I closed my eyes and a stream of tears rolled down my cheeks. For the first time in my life, I was feeling so helpless. My entire life flashed in front of me. I sat in one corner of the room and sobbed. I booted my laptop and began searching for information related to AIDS. Almost as a reflex, my fingers typed in these keywords: "best doctor for HIV/AIDS in Delhi." I found Dr. Raza, HOD Internal Medicine, at Max Hospital near Select City Walk, a kilometer away from my home. 30 minutes later, I was standing outside his cabin, waiting to see him. I requested her assistant for the last appointment and received a suspicious look from her for making such an unusual request. She said, "We do not work that way. If you want to consult him at the end, you might as well wait till the end. He'll be here till 4 o'clock only." I wanted to be the last one to consult him so that he could spend a decent amount of time with me. There were several tasks to be accomplished. First and foremost, I had to apprise my family about the disease. Then I had to choose a suitable hospital, fix her career, and the most important of all, reveal the truth to her. How would she react? How would my parents react? A web of thoughts was hitting my nerves. I had never before applied my mind to anything in such detail. After waiting for 2 hours, I finally got the chance to have a word with the doctor. "Good afternoon, sir," I greeted him as soon as I entered the room. Inside the room, I found a middle-aged, bespectacled man, slightly bald with an air of confidence about him. His white coat indicated that he was indeed the senior doctor. He was clearing his desk, and I, of course, was the last patient. "Hi, the patient's name is Astha." He looked at me doubtfully and guessed correctly that I wasn't the patient. "She is not here. I am her husband, VJ." "Oh, okay. Tell me," he said in a hurry, wishing to wind up for the day as soon as possible. "Sir, this is her report," I said while placing a print out on his table. Along with her report, I showed him mine too. It's good that doctors do not speak to the patient while going through the reports. He flipped a few pages of the report without paying any heed to what I was saying, focusing on the CD4 count. He was assured about the disease. He remained calm, which indicated that he was not seeing such a report for the first time. "Sir, I said, getting emotional. I got to know about this today. Is there any cure available in any part of the world? I'm so sorry, he said with sensitivity. I can understand your concern, but until now, medical science has been unable to find a cure for this. Over many years of research, doctors have understood many things. For example, we can control the duration for HIV to turn into AIDS. We can get some extra years of hope and life, provided all necessary medication starts at the earliest. Do you mean to say that it is curable? Not completely. If the patient is medicated appropriately, with all the necessary care given to her, then the patient can live for many years. How many years, doctor? We cannot quantify it, Mr. VJ. Remember, an AIDS patient doesn't die because of AIDS. It only reduces their immunity, making home for other diseases which proves fatal. They can't even fight a common cold. But we can control the rate at which HIV turns into AIDS. Doctor, indeed a personal favor from you. I hope you'll understand. He nodded. My wife is unaware that she is HIV positive, and I lack the courage to tell her about it. The moment she gets to know about it, the world will change for her. Her smiling face will be smiling no more. Along with crying and scolding me from the corner of the room, I want her to spend the rest of her time smiling. I can understand. What can I do for you? Doctor, can I expect all the support, care, and medicine without informing her of the disease? How can that be possible? He said, looking at me. This disease requires a lot of care and precautions, and only an aware person can take better care of themselves. And what am I supposed to tell her when she is here? Don't ask me to treat her remotely. I cannot extend my treatment without meeting the patient. I absorbed his words, and her teary face flashed in front of my eyes. A husband who didn't want to tell her wife that she has limited time to live had broken down. Be brave, dear, pacified the doctor, and offered me a glass of water. I ignored the water and asked where the washroom was. He showed me the way. Inside the washroom, I cried silently, because for the first time I was facing the heat of the reality from a doctor who was not ready to help me. I washed my face, cleared my throat, looked at my shabby face in the mirror, and decided to face him. The doctor, who had seemed to be in a rush a few minutes back, was now looking worried and at ease. Listen, VJ, you can do one thing, he said. Just tell her that she is suffering from liver cirrhosis, and it requires exhaustive care. Tomorrow I'll be leaving for an AIDS conference, and will be back in 3 days. I'll prescribe Viridae medicine for the next 3 days. Give her these and get her here on the 4th day. I'll conduct all the necessary tests here itself. And you need not worry, because I'll not tell her that she is suffering from HIV. I will also avoid writing anything related to HIV on the prescription. His words overwhelmed me. Thank you so much, doctor. Can you also suggest 3 months of bed rest in the prescription? I will. He nodded. Ask her to drink more water. If she is working somewhere, then the nature of her job should not be stressful. Avoid anything that can lead her to catch an infection of any sort. If you have a car, start using it to help her commute. Avoid letting her use a bike or public transport. You have to take care of her like a child. Thank you so much, sir. He nodded in acknowledgement, and I got up to leave. Wait, VJ, he said just when I was about to open the door. He drank a glass of water and seemed to be moved. I sensed that he was sentimental. I have been treating HIV patients since a decade, but no one in a situation similar to yours has approached me. Every HIV-infected patient has approached me with a certain prejudice. They usually ask about the source of this infection. Some of them even ask me whether the patient had been involved in sex activities. They always come with a doubt about the patient's character. What they don't know is that, apart from sex, there are various other sources of this infection, but for the first time I have met a person like you who has a different concern altogether. Appreciate your point, doctor. But just for curiosity's sake, is there a chance to diagnose the source of the infection? No, VJ. We know the probable reasons that can cause infection, but no one can identify the source. I nodded and remained silent. He seemed to be expecting a few words in return, but in my current state of mind, I could only manage to pass a smile. He gave his last official instruction of the day, saying, "Take care of your wife. You are a nice husband, VJ, and use a condom." I returned home at around 5 in the evening and still had more than an hour at hand to think in peace. I was wondering why the doctor had said his last words about me being a nice husband. I was not habituated to hearing such kind words about myself, or maybe I had to prove that I was indeed a good husband. I didn't know what I was. I had known Astha for the past 6 months. These 6 months were enough for me to understand her as a person. I was sure that a 27-year-old woman must definitely be having some hidden desires which she had never shared with her husband. She could have told someone very close to her, after her husband, of course. Only one such person's name came to my mind. Astha often spoke about her, and I had her number as well. But would she not inform Astha about my call? Shall I hide the truth from her? How would she react? Sargam speaks. Hi, friends. Though I am not a writer, I am here for my best friend, Astha. I vividly remember the day VJ called me up. It was strange to see his name flash on my mobile screen because he had never called me earlier. I knew almost everything about him from Astha, but we had not communicated directly. A call from him meant that something serious had happened, and from the way he spoke, I was nothing less than scared. He asked me a few very weird questions. He asked me about Astha's desires and wishes. I was taken aback and the worst news possible. My friend was suffering from a rare kind of blood infection and had limited time to live. I was not told the name of the disease, but was sure that it was very serious. I couldn't gauge the gravity of his questions earlier, but with this fact known, I was unable to answer them and disconnected the call thinking about Astha. We had studied together after our 5th standard. Astha had had a terrible childhood. While all the kids were enjoying their sapid lunches, her menu for lunch was fixed. It would always be either bread with jam or sandwiches. She had amazing potential. She would always come 2nd or 3rd in the school. I had made a deliberate attempt to befriend her by offering her my tiffin. With time, we became great friends who shared everything with each other. Our story was like that of a flop movie. I had lost my parents in a car accident and found a savior in my maternal uncle. He brought me up and cared for me like I was his own daughter. But an additional member in the family meant additional liability for them. When I met Astha, I realized that her life was more terrible than mine. Two people with similar stories always make good friends. She had revealed her story to me about her fixed lunch menu. She had a stepmother. Her biological mother stayed alone and was occasionally visited by her father till Astha was in the 5th standard, after which she died. Her father brought her to a new place, giving her an unwelcome chance of meeting her new mother. She had a loving father till, the 8th standard one fine day, she got to know that her biological mother had never been married to her visitor, father, and she realized that she was an illegitimate child. Astha's stepmother strengthened Astha's need for a good friend. We were both starving for motherly love, and that strengthened our bond. Her stepmother was blessed with a baby, and Astha could sense the difference in her behavior. She got her first shock when her mother slapped her for exchanging her tiffin with her younger sister. She realized that she was an unwanted guest in the house. That was the day when she declared herself an orphan. Astha was a revengeful girl. If anyone betrayed her, she would never forgive that person. She would always want to defeat her enemy and never wanted anyone to sympathize with her. Every year, her younger sister's birthday would be celebrated like a carnival, whereas her birthday was celebrated only amongst us. She promised herself that she would become the best mother in the world. It was weird to even dream of it at that age, but sometimes our ego gives us a confidence boost. Life was not that bad after she found love in Daniel, the topper of our college. Astha's dream to be a rich and famous, the person was going to be executed well with Daniel because he always adorned Astha with expensive gifts. He had even sponsored her last year's college fees. Both of them graduated together from St. Stephen's College. Though I was not with her during the course of our graduation, I stayed close to her. The proximity of our houses had always made us frequent visitors at the other's place. We would party hard, eat non-vegetarian food, and drink alcohol, too. Astha was a slight narcissist. She always wanted to become a celebrity and even marry a superstar, Salman Khan, to be specific. She was a crazy fan of his. She would always imagine her picture with Salman Khan on the front cover of a magazine. It is weird to admit, but I too dreamt of the same, but with Shah Rukh Khan. We would always have a fight over the superiority of Shah Rukh over Salman or vice versa. She wanted to become a model and wished that a movie be made on her life. She wanted to own a Mercedes. We always dreamt big. Her stepmother always cribbed about money. That was probably the reason for her dreaming to become rich. After graduation, when Astha once asked for money from her father, her mother protested, "Please try to understand that. We have 2 liabilities, and you are about to retire." That was the day when Astha decided not to ask for a single penny henceforth from her family. In spite of being her best buddy, I had always hated her for being a snob. She was a girl who would prefer to die rather than ask for help. Her snobbish nature could only be handled by her boyfriend Daniel, who was another narcissistic soul. After graduation, Daniel wished to study further. He cleared the entrance examination, and his good score provided for a scholarship for him to pursue a 2-year course with limited resources in the USA. A day before his scheduled flight, he had come over to my house along with Astha. They had cried many times, and I was sure that they must have vowed to each other to be together always. She was really sad that he would be leaving the next day. A girl who is not loved at home understands the importance of a friend, and when you have only one best friend, your boyfriend is a very crucial person in your life. Daniel flew to the USA, and meanwhile, Asta cleared her PO examination at Axis Bank. She celebrated her success, as her motive was to tease her stepmother and stepsister. But happiness and Asta could not stay together for long. One day Daniel requested Asta to extend her help by issuing a personal loan to his father. It was an amount of 2 lakh rupees for his mother's treatment, since Daniel's father was not earning enough to bear the expenses of a foreign education along with treating his ill spouse. That day, life changed for Daniel and Asta. I am not sure of what went wrong at Daniel's place, but Daniel's father met Asta and requested her to break all relations with Daniel. His family's Catholic beliefs and anti-Hindu mindset were the biggest hindrances to their union. The only blossom of her life slipped away right in front of her eyes, and she couldn't do anything about it. Asta visited my house and drank to her destiny. A couple of vodka shots later, in the moment of extreme disappointment, Asta made up her mind to break up with Daniel. It was then that I asked Asta to create a bucket list of all her wishes that she wanted to fulfill before leaving this world. I did the same and right in front of her, but I wonder why she concealed her list from me. It was quite unlike Asta to hide things from me. It only meant that her bucket list contained something grave. Then came a marriage proposal from Vijay's family. Asta's stepmother worked with Vijay's mother, and they were good friends. At first, Asta rejected the proposal because she found the guy average-looking and an introvert. After a few days, Asta's only living biological parent, her father, had a brain hemorrhage and passed away. Asta lost everything she could call her own. She realized that Vijay was a nice person, a journalist mother and an inspector. Father made him a good human being. He was a budding PCS aspirant, too. She agreed to the alliance without even informing Daniel about it. In the meantime, Daniel was incessantly trying to reach Asta. She had changed her contact number and had cut off her past. Post-marriage, Asta realized that Vijay was a failure. He worked at the Sri Ram College of Arts, Science and Commerce as an assistant professor of English. She had ended up marrying only a teacher, a poor teacher at that. He never uttered a word against his mother, who had issues with everything concerning Asta. She was trying to snatch away Asta's freedom, and that was something that Asta couldn't tolerate. After 5 months of their marriage, both of them finally decided to move out of the house. She wanted to celebrate with me, and for Asta, celebration was a synonym for vodka. Although Vijay had multiple shortcomings, the best thing about him was that he loved Asta from the core of his heart. She was done cribbing about the small things and began adjusting with reality, something that was not like my Asta. Marriage always changes people, and Asta had begun to change. When I was done talking to Sargam, I started off to pick up my darling from her office. It was an unusual thing for me to do, because our office timings almost always clashed. That's why I had never picked her up. But as suggested by the doctor, I wanted to ensure her comfort. On our way home, I inquired about her boss. So, is Mr. Mukul Mathur still in office? The fucking Mathur will die in the bank, she replied in frustration. He doesn't have anything else to do in life. I would never use the word fuck, not even at night, but it was embedded in her vocabulary. I dropped her home and lied, told be home in an hour's time. I have to go to the insurance office. They have called me for a discussion about my policy and health reports. The same reports for which we had given our samples this morning? She asked. I nodded and went off. I stopped right in front of the bank. There was an ATM kiosk. I was right in the middle of a crowded market, and at 7 in the evening in Delhi, it is easier to locate an ATM than a parking space. The ATM guard stopped me on my way, saying, "Sir, the bank is closed and you cannot go inside. I am here to see Mr. Mukul. Please inform him that Astha Sharma's husband wants to have a word with him." "Oh, you are a staff's relative. I thought you're a customer. Sorry for stopping you. You may go inside, please." I was certain that Astha's kind personality never went unnoticed, not even by the guard. There was pin-drop silence in the bank. I turned my neck to find a cabin at one corner of the hallway. This must be the devil's abode, I thought. I was impressed with the man's commitment to his job. His cabin door was ajar, and I peeped inside the cabin. Our eyes met for a moment, and he reacted unpleasantly. He quickly began to hide something under the table. "May I come in, sir?" I requested. "The bank is closed. How did you manage to step inside?" "Sir, I am Vijay Sharma, Astha's husband," I replied at the cabin's door. "Oh, come in, please," he said, heaving a sigh of relief. "It is perfectly fine, sir." Astha had left for the day at her usual time. "Has she not reached home yet?" "Sir, I am here to meet you. Astha is at home." "Oh, okay. What would you like to have? Tea or coffee?" His words contradicted Astha's description of him as an inhuman being. "You need not be so formal with me, sir. Please call me Mukul." "Do you drink?" he asked playfully. "No," I replied. "Good," he said, placing a glass on the table, followed by some snacks and finally a half-filled bottle of Royal Stag. I was offered a transparent 4-inch glass. "Sir, I don't drink," I repeated myself, because he clearly hadn't understood my previous denial. "It is just a soft drink," he said, pouring some Pepsi. "I am fed up with drinking alone." "Thank you, sir. I salute your commitment as you are working post-office hours. Every professional must learn from you." I was trying my hands at an art alien to me, the art of buttering. "Call me Mukul, please," he said, emptying his glass in seconds. "Actually, the reason for my stay is personal. I stay here because I am not happy being at home. I have a terrible life. People think that I work a lot, whereas in reality, I am only running away from my daily mess." It was unbelievable for me that a person was so frank with me about his family issues. I was confused. Was he the same boss who made my darling's life miserable each day, or was it just the Royal Stag effect taking over his senses? I could easily see his swinging eyes and momentary happiness. I guessed he had attained inner peace. "Oh, sorry to hear that," I said, taking a sip of my drink. "It's okay. I always wonder why people like us get married," he continued. "The best part of it is that we get a loving person to share our entire life with," I said, and smiled. Love and marriage can never go hand in hand. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm digressing. What made you come here? Sir, I need your help, and I am sure that understanding and loving that you are, you'll surely help me out. I buttered him some more before coming to the point. He frowned at my words, but said, "Feel free," while pouring another peg. Sir, Asta's promotion is due for Monday. Don't worry about that. I have already cleared her file, and she will soon be a permanent employee of this bank. He seemed to be uncontrollable. Had I asked for a loan of 100 crore rupees, I am sure he would have sanctioned it without any second thoughts. That was the beauty of Royal Stag. It was making him behave royally. That, sir, is exactly the reason of my worry. Our doctor has suggested that she needs complete bed rest as she is suffering from a fatal disease that... I sighed before I could continue. It was difficult for me to speak. I could only manage to say, "She has only a few months to live." What? Are you serious? He asked inquisitively while making another peg. There was silence in the room, which I broke. Sir, she is not aware of the criticality of the disease. With my current financial condition, I cannot coax her to quit her job. I want to take care of her and prevent her from falling prey to any unnecessary infections. I want you to terminate her services after her probation because you wouldn't have to justify it to anyone. He took a sip, thinking for a few seconds. Vijay, he said, if I terminate her without providing a valid reason for the same, it will shatter her confidence. Plus, this is against the HR policy as well. I am afraid I cannot do this. I definitely require a valid reason to do that. Also, what is the proof of your statement? Sir, she will have to quit her job anyway. If you do not help me out, I'll be bound to reveal the truth to her, which would cause more pain than being terminated from her job. Saying this, I showed him the doctor's prescription, which he took a look at in his half-conscious state of mind. He managed to understand the 3-month bed rest part. I narrated my fake story of an insurance policy and medical test, at the end of which I finally added the truth. Mukul, sir, I said, the moment she gets to know that she is suffering from a severe disease, she will not be the same happy-go-lucky Asta anymore. So, you are going to keep everything under wraps and try to make her happy for the rest of her time, is it? I nodded. I was impressed with the way his mind was working faster with every peg. Vijay, let me tell you something about Asta. She has been working here for the last 2 years. She had been regular with her time, but after her marriage, she would leave at around 5, and that would often upset me. But for the last few days, she has been staying back. I inquired about this change in her schedule from her colleague. It turned out that she would stay back in office because you were away for your college trip. I have always blamed her for not staying back in the evening and felt she was a disastrous professional. However, I believe that she is an extremely lucky person when it comes to her personal life. Thanks for your kind words, sir. I sighed. So can I be assured that you'd be firing her? Let me have a word with the HR. Sir, you are a very nice man. You could be a tough boss, but I know that you're a good person at heart. I believe you should spend some more time with your family rather than spending time at office and drinking in isolation. That way, you would be able to control your alcohol intake. I have no idea how or why I philosophized. Maybe the words were coming straight from my heart. Thanks, he said and nodded. But how do you know that I am a good person at heart? I smiled at him sadly and said, because you are going to fire her. After returning from her office, I heaved a sigh of relief. That night in bed, I was thinking that a newlywed couple often spent quality time together before dozing off. Most of the times for one of the two reasons, working hard or talking. Unfortunately, I could not work hard with my wife for now, so we had to talk. Hey, Astha, I said, cuddling her. I want to discuss something with you. Her head was resting over my left hand, hair tied by a clutch, and a night bulb waiting for the night show. Discussion and you? Are you okay, sweetheart? I chose to stare at her rather than reply. She sensed the seriousness in the air. Why do you look so tense? I caressed her hair and said, do you remember we had given our samples for a complete blood checkup this morning? Of course. How can I forget that some fucker sucked my blood this morning? So what about it? Is there something to worry about? She went on with her guesses. I leaned over and picked up a paper lying on the nearby table. Sweetheart, I said with a heavy heart, the insurance company has denied insuring you on the grounds of your illness. Saying this, I handed over that paper along with the doctor's prescription. I didn't want to extend the conversation since I was aware that prolonged talks meant more chances of the truth getting out. What disease? She read from the prescription. And 3 months complete bed rest? Are you kidding me? Is that why you returned home late in the evening? She asked in a shocked state. Nothing serious, dear. Your liver has been infected and you need 3 months of complete bed rest. According to the doctor, it is just a normal swelling. My probation is due on Monday. My manager will not approve a long leave of 3 months even on medical grounds. Why did you not wait for me? Why did you visit the doctor all by yourself? I was ready to consult the doctor about my medicine. Just when I was about to leave from there, I got a call from the lab regarding your report, and I could not stop myself from asking the doctor about your report, too. Don't worry, darling. It's now time for you to resign from your job and take rest while pursuing whatever you have always wanted to do. Also, the doctor has asked you not to exert yourself. Oh, is that why I have been feeling like puking all the time since the past few days? She reasoned. She had again answered her own question, so I stayed quiet and she carried on. By the way, is your report normal? Yes, nothing significant has been identified in my report. Just a urinary infection. Oh. And the doctor has suggested I avoid sex and use protection while doing it. There are chances of you getting infected, too. She seemed really sad with my scary explanation. In an attempt to lighten her mood, I said, it is great that all of it was diagnosed in time, but we need to bear in mind that the situation might worsen if not treated well or cared for properly. The doctors will be conducting a series of tests after 3 days. Until then, no outside food, no liquor, no office, and a lot of rest. I pinched her cheek and asked, okay? This is really weird. What the fuck is happening? She almost screamed. My liver is infected, my job is at stake, and how on earth are we going to manage the money for our survival and all the treatment? And... She sighed. And what? We can't even make out. Does this have anything to do with your Goa trip? she blurted out in frustration. "I will handle everything, honey. Just have faith in me." For the first time in my life, I tried to convince someone with utmost confidence. "Now what in hell does that mean?" she replied in despair. I said puckishly, "I can use a condom." Next day was Sunday. I wanted to have a word with Papa. I stepped out of the house and went straight to our society garden, a small fenced area called a park by some people. Well, if people called it a park, I might as well call my flat a mansion. I sat at a corner of the park, closed my eyes, and did something that only a helpless son could do: cry. I could neither help my family nor could I save my wife. I sobbed for the next few minutes. I called up Papa, and after the usual formal talk, he asked, "How is Asta?" "She is fine." "When will Mom be home?" I lied. "She should be here next month." "What is the matter, son? You sound worried." "Papa," I said with tears in my eyes, "I want to buy a car." "How much, my son?" Being a struggling teacher, buying a car was out of my financial capabilities. I had justified my tears well: a son's inability to purchase a car and asking for money from his father at the age of 32. "Why are you sounding so low, VJ? It is absolutely okay for a son to ask for money from his father." "Papa, at this age, ideally a son should gift such things to his parents, but—" I sighed amidst sobs. I really am an abnormal person. I had a lump in my throat. "VJ, please don't think like that. In today's times, a car is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Delhi roads are not safe for bikers anymore. Just tell me the amount that I should transfer." "At least 2.5 lakhs. "You'll have it in your account by tomorrow." "Papa, you never check how I spend the money I take from you," I said, partly relieved and partly surprised. "Son, at this age, most of the fathers imagine that their sons must be having an affair or burning money on alcohol or in discotheques. I happen to be out of that lot because I don't have any such concerns. I trust my son and believe that you'd never ask for money for trivial reasons. Yes, you are indeed an abnormal son," he said, sounding emotional. "I love you, Papa." "I love you too, my son. And one more thing, never keep any secret from your father." "How do you know that I am keeping something from you?" I was surprised yet again. "I am your father, VJ. I won't force you to reveal anything until you think that it is the right thing to do. Always remember, crying with someone is way better than crying alone." "Papa, I understand your point, but do you have that much money on you?" I asked with hesitance because my father never discussed financial matters with me. "You know what the best part about retirement is?" "What?" "The Provident Fund." Chapter 10. I was about to go home when I got a call which gave me a purpose in life. "Hello?" I said. "Hi, VJ. This is Sargam. How is Asta?" "Hi, Sargam. She is good." "VJ, is she around?" "No. Please feel free to talk." "VJ, I was unable to talk much when you asked me about her wishes, but I did recall one incident when I was planning to shift to Bangalore. I had asked her a weird question: 10 things to do before we die." "What were those?" I asked inquisitively. Actually, she had written something but hadn't shown it to me. I am not sure what she wrote, but am sure that it must have been something very serious and meaningful because otherwise she would have shared it with me. Astha doesn't maintain a journal. I was thinking where those wishes could be written. Well, maybe she did have a diary. Who knows? Our relationship was only 6 months old after all. I rushed back to our house only to realize that I couldn't hunt for the diary right away as Astha was home. The moment I stepped in, Astha fired her question, "Why do you look so lost? Did you cry? Now I am not going to buy that you have infected your eyes as well." My mind was too occupied with the thought of her journal to realize that my eyes were red and filled with tears. I cupped her cheeks and said, "Stop guessing, my unstoppable wife." My eyes were itching, so I rubbed them hard. "Are you sure?" "Of course. Why would I cry?" She was about to say something, but I cut her short. "I have good news." "Oh, finally. Tell me quickly. I am tired of hearing only the bad ones." "I have been promoted from assistant professor to associate professor." I lied. "Really?" she said and kissed me. "Congratulations, Master G." I thanked God that she didn't doubt how I had received the promotion call on a Sunday. "And there is more good news coming your way." "One more?" "Wow! What is it? A bumper offer?" she said, and well off. She hugged me and said, "I feel today is a special day. From now on, every day will be special." Oh, confidence. Okay, now tell me the good news. "We are buying a car." "Oh, my God. I love you, sweetheart," she screamed as she poured kisses on me. It felt like a rain of kisses. She was cheerful. Her smiling face made me emotional. I was content to see her happy. My perspective of life had changed. "What happened, VJ?" she said, sensing my gloominess. "I always wanted to purchase a big car, but we might end up buying a smaller one." "We can save some money and buy a bigger car later on then," she suggested. "Yes, we definitely can. But as per the doctor's instructions, it is unsafe for you to travel by public transport or even on two-wheelers. So we have to make the decision right now." "I am perfectly fine with a nano." "Really?" "Yes. You know, sweetheart, I always dreamt of owning a Mercedes, only to realize that every car is like a luxury car if you have the best person of your life sitting next to you." She held my chin and continued, "VJ, I'll always choose sitting with my husband in a nano over sitting alone in a Mercedes." We booked a cream-colored Tata Nano, and it was scheduled to be delivered in the next 2 days. It was Monday, probably her last day at work. I dropped Astha at the bank. As she was about to get off, I said, "Astha, please leave this monotonous job of yours." "Bye, darling," she said, giving me a get-lost look. She shook her head and stepped inside the bank. I rushed back home and got on to hunting for her diary. After half an hour of searching through all her belongings, I finally caught hold of a red diary. Without wasting a second, I flipped it open. There was a page with details of Daniel's father's account. There were a few transaction details, few mobile numbers, all the passwords to her various social networking accounts, etc. One of the pages was for one of her friends, Daniel. "Daniel, I am so sorry that I cannot marry you. I am sure that one day you'll be in a state to understand me. You must be thinking that I am a lady who is chasing—" It felt as if she had broken down before being able to complete the sentence, or she must have been drunk while writing it. Anyway, Just below the above lines was the crucial part for which I had begun my hunt in the first place. 7 wishes before I die. 1. Be a good mother. 2. Apologize to Daniel. 3. Marry either a hero or a celebrity. 4. Host a grand birthday party with more than 2,000 guests. 5. Have a bank balance of 50 lakhs or 1 crore, whichever is achievable. 6. Get featured on the cover page of a gossip magazine. 7. BB.
It felt like a cruel joke. I wondered whether Asta was crazy, or were these actually the wishes of the girl I loved. It was a tough situation. I was talking to myself. People do talk to themselves when they are tensed. Who is this Daniel? And why does Asta want to apologize to him? How on earth was I going to fulfill her dreams? We could not even have sex. How would she ever become a mother? Marry a hero? Really? I am not sure about hero, but Asta has definitely married a zero. She wants 2,000 people to wish her on her birthday? Who is she kidding? How can a person who is unable to take care of his wife host a grand party for 2,000 guests? Become a millionaire? Asta has definitely married the wrong guy. Cover page of a magazine. She is neither a model nor a celebrity. Why would any magazine publish her picture? And what on earth is BB? Does she mean blockbuster Bollywood movie on her or BlackBerry? I weighed my options and gave up. I sat on the floor, and tears gushed out of my eyes, making me feel helpless again. I tore that page from her diary. In the space between 7 and wishes, I wrote impossible. Now it read 7 impossible wishes before I die.
Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey in today's episode on Simple Spoken English. VJ's story reminds us that life can throw unexpected challenges our way, but courage and love often find a path forward. As we continue to improve our English skills through stories, remember, every new word and phrase you learn is a step towards mastering the language. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more episodes and lessons. See you in the next one.